Hello, I'm State Representative Anthony Forlini, and we are taking Lansing on the road so that you can better understand your state government. I'm proud to serve the 24th District and have Selfridge Air National Guard Base located on the north end of the district. Selfridge Air National Guard Base is one of the most diverse military and homeland security installations in the United States and is essential to the economy for Macomb County. Selfridge has over 100 years of community relationships providing jobs and supporting the local economy and is strategically located near 5 international and land border crossings in the Detroit-Windsor region. Growth and development has always been the goal of the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. This is one of the reasons why Selfridge Air National Guard Base is unique with its strong partnership with defense manufacturing, engineering, and skilled workforce in the area for veterans. Joining me today is David Dunckel, the Strategy Analyst for Employment at the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. David, why don't you tell us a little bit what you're doing?
Probably served 25 years in both a combination of Navy and Army. Retired in 2014, spent a little time in the private sector in your neck of the woods, building Veterans Initiative programs for industry, and went to work for the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency in November of this year.
Wow. Well, again, thank you for your service.
I appreciate that, sir.
You know, this is probably a growing area of concern is how we're treating our veterans and what are we doing for our veterans? How are we getting veterans to work? How are we getting them housing? And I hear this quite a bit because Selfridge being in my district, it's a bit of concern. What are we doing? What are we doing to help these veterans?
Well, the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency was designed to be a central coordinating point for Michigan veterans and their families to connect them to services and benefits like employment. We also focus on quality of life and health care and education. Our point of view from the MVAA is to assist employers as much as veteran job seekers to build productive and strong veteran recruiting strategies. So I partner with employers all the time to help them reach out to the veteran community, find out where the veterans are at, and bring them into their workforce.
There was, you know, we had, several years ago, we were looking at some of the statistics, and I've got a nephew that's in the Army National Guard, and he's overseas right now, and he's developing some incredible skills.
Exactly.
And I know that we've passed some legislation to help these returning veterans get back into the workforce using some of those skills that they've achieved. Does your group help with that?
Oh, we certainly do. We certainly do. We do that in a couple different ways. Like I say, not only do we work with employers, we work with educational institutions. And there are quite a few educational institutions out there that have developed fast-track programs that build on the skill set that our veterans learned while in the military and allows them to take fast-track education tracks into different occupations like agriculture or industry or police, law enforcement. So they basically get credit for what they learned in the military at educational institutions.
So they'll give them the credit hours. They can apply it toward whatever else this school is going to assist.
Correct. There's programs out there where they'll take a military police officer and they'll give them 280 hours of training to be Michigan law enforcement certified. And like I say, agriculture's doing it. The energy industry is really big into fast-tracking veterans into career opportunities. The whole gamut of industries represented in Michigan are on board with this.
I would think if the U.S. military is allowing these young men and women to work on nuclear subs and the ships that are powered nuclearly, or the Air Force and all the very intricate electronics, I would only imagine that what they're going to see when they come home is nothing compared to what they've already experienced.
Exactly. And not only the hard skill set, it's the intangible skills that are also just important. I've seen with my own eyes 20-year-old Lance Corporals in Baghdad who are making strategic decisions in a split second that would have had international ramifications with reporters right around the corner had they made the wrong decision. And that's real leadership in action, and it can't be taught in any kind of school. And there's hundreds of thousands of these veterans out there in Michigan that have those innate skill sets.
And with that comes a lot of discipline, and all the armed forces give you that. You give these young men and women incredible discipline that, again, schools aren't going to give them discipline. They're going to tell you to do your homework, you're going to take a test, or 4 tests a year, or whatever the case might be. They're going to be graded on that, and that's their only discipline. But there's more to it than that. I spent some time at Paris Island as a VIP. So I got the tour. This is before I was even in politics, because I employed Marines. And what I found is they were incredibly disciplined. My tour of Paris Island confirmed why they were. And, and the disciplines and the respect that these young men and women achieve there, you don't get back home.
Exactly. And, you know, employers recognize that today also, including employers in Macomb County. They realize that these are intangible skills that they try to infuse into their own employees, and it takes years to do it. And they're getting these young men and women right out of the service that have those values ingrained in them already.
And nobody's more professional at getting that done than our armed forces. I'm not sure that that local business owners are going to have that same toughness or the time for it.
Or the legal backing.
Well, you know, we talk about all these veterans, particularly with the skirmishes that have been going around the world the last few years. There's quite a few veterans that we have now. I mean, they're en masse. I don't know if you have any statistics on Macomb
Michigan
County.
has a little over 660,000 veterans, and Macomb County is about 59,000 veterans. Michigan actually has the 11th largest veteran population in the country. One of the fastest growing demographics in the veteran community are female veterans, and there's probably close to 50,000 female veterans in Michigan. Macomb County is part of the area of Michigan that has almost 1/3 of the veterans that are in the state. Wayne County, Macomb, there's a real high concentration of veterans down there, but there are also there's a real high concentration of veteran services down there.
Well, I know Selfridge being there, that's kind of like a magnet for veterans to stay by with with the commissary, and that's very important to these veterans from everything I've heard. So you said about 50,000 in the state, women that are...
Women veterans, correct.
Any breakdown for Macomb County, what that might be?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So if you had to talk to any employer out there, why is it important to hire a veteran?
There's a couple of reasons. It's not that we owe them a debt of gratitude that needs to be repaid through employment. It makes good business sense. We all know, especially down in southwest Michigan or southeast Michigan, that there's a looming skilled trades gap. And more and more employers are struggling to find qualified workers for manufacturing, for IT, for healthcare and healthcare support. The veteran community is a great it's a great population to mine to get that kind of talent. They come with ready-made skills. They're easy to train. They're very goal-oriented. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. These are the things they live by every day. If you set a clear path for a veteran to achieve the next higher standard or next goal, just like in the military, in the rank structure, they will go after that. More and more employers recognize that, and more employers are reaching into that community to take care of their workforce needs.
I know that I found that myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about. If you had to say if you had to specifically say which type of employers, what will we be talking? What type of employers are going to be looking for veterans?
In Michigan specifically, and in Macomb County specifically, over the next 10 years, the anticipated needs are in healthcare and healthcare support. There's approximately 35% increase in the number of job openings in those areas. Advanced manufacturing is huge. There's a huge demand in the robotics industry and in just about any type of advanced manufacturing. That also will be subject to about 32% growth over the next 10 years. And the problem with those types of skilled trades jobs is right now the Department of Labor estimates that we'll have approximately 2 million openings nationwide by 2025, and we only have about 1 million people in the pipeline to take those jobs. And those are important jobs. Those are things that are in the defense industry, the advanced robotics industry. These are jobs we do not want to farm out overseas, or that we can't farm out overseas. So there's very rigorous and robust training programs going on in both the public and the private sector to address those needs.
Well, I hear this all the time because when I first took office 5 years ago, there was not enough jobs and people were leaving the state.
Exactly.
I find the opposite to be true today. I'm hearing stories like you're telling me that we have the jobs, but we're lacking the talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that many of our businesses owe it to themselves to look for a veteran. Now, how would they look for a veteran? How would they? Is there some type of a matchmaker game going on?
There is no bat
website.
Signal. Yeah, there's no bat signal that you can send out so every veteran knows that company ABC is hiring veterans. But in partnering with the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency and our veteran-friendly employer program, we've created a network of like-minded employers who are interested in reaching out to the veteran community. And there's a tremendous amount of collaboration that goes on amongst these employers. Even though they may be competing for the same skilled workforce, there's an unspoken agreement between these employers that it doesn't matter if a veteran goes to work for GM or Quicken or Roush or Whirlpool. We have all made the solemn pact that the veteran gets a job. That's first and foremost. And you will see those 4 companies I just mentioned who are our gold level veteran-friendly employers. They meet together on a quarterly basis to remove organizational obstacles to veteran employment, to trade best practices, to consolidate their efforts in outreaching to that community in a united voice so we can attract more veterans not only to jobs, but more veterans back to Michigan.
So, but I guess I'm still trying to determine here, if I'm an employer, is there somewhere I can go that's very specific to veterans? I mean, do you have a website?
We certainly do.
Where veterans returning can post up their resumes? And
there's a couple different things we do. We have very strong interagency partnerships with Michigan Works, and one of the best Michigan Works agencies out there is in Macomb, St. Clair.
Would you expect anything less?
They're great. I work with those people down there all the time. They have a veterans employment boot camp that they run that teaches resume writing skills and interview skills. So for the veteran job seekers, going to the nearest Michigan Works office is always their best bet. They get veteran preference in their employment jobs or their employment search. If you're an employer, partnering with the MVA and our veteran-friendly employer program, they can learn more about that at www.michiganveterans.com under the employer section. They can join this group of this collaborative effort amongst employers to reach out to the community. I have companies, excuse me, I have companies that have 2 employees that are both veterans, and yet GM on the other end of the spectrum, who hired 375 veterans last year, they're our gold level, and they'll work hand in hand with that small. I had a call this morning from a landscaping company that wants to hire 10 veterans. Well, why not partner with those big companies who want to see you reach your goals? And like I say, MichiganVeterans.com is where they can find information on our veteran-friendly employer program.
MichiganVeterans.com. Well,
Yep.
that's good to know. That's kind of where I was aiming to see if there's some common area, if they're looking for a very specific type of recruit, and they know that. I know that I found as an employer years ago that was the best place. I would go to all the job shows that were out there, the
hiring
career
events.
fairs, I should say, career fairs, and boy, you've never met a better group of disciplined, respectful people, the ones that are coming back from service. I mean, they know why they're an American.
Exactly.
So, are there any misconceptions that maybe we can debunk about veterans? Other, maybe they've never considered a veteran because they felt.
I think one of the biggest struggles that veterans have in finding employment is the environment that they came from as opposed to the environment that they're going to. Teamwork is extremely important in the military. Individual initiative is important, but taking individual credit isn't. You work as an individual, but you win as a team. And it's difficult for veterans sometimes to tout their own skill sets. in corporate America, sometimes that individual achievement is what is most important as opposed to that team achievement. So we help veterans realize that. We help veterans also translate the skills that they've learned. If you're an 0311 240 Bravo gunner in OIF, well, corporate America doesn't know what
I have no idea what you just said.
That means you're a Marine Corps infantryman who manned a gun in a Humvee during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Now,
but you can't say it that way, though. You got to say it the other way.
Exactly. So what you need to do is say you were a management professional. That, because that's what you were. You were managing people, and that you operate well in a high-stress environment. And those are the kind of things that an employer is looking for. And not only the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency, but there's a myriad of other agencies out there that will assist that veteran in translating those skills. I do want to say something about PTS and mild traumatic brain injury. This last
PTS is
post-traumatic stress.
Okay.
I have had employers relay certain fears about the prevalence of PTS in this generation of veterans. And sure, just like any generation of veterans, that is an issue. But what most employers don't realize is that there's 27 million Americans that suffer from post-traumatic stress, and the vast majority of them aren't veterans. And the vast majority of them were afflicted with post-traumatic stress through automobile accidents or house fires, or they were victims of crime. And so we all work with somebody with PTS. Veterans that suffer from PTS have a very strong support system out there, and there's lots of treatment available that doesn't cost the employer anything. And you will find that this generation of veterans is the new greatest generation. And some of those fears just need to be allayed.
Well, I certainly believe that, and I certainly believe that, hiring a veteran is a very good thing for not only the employer but the employee that they're hiring. I noticed several years ago that the veteran unemployment rate was higher than the norm. Mm-hmm. Has that changed at all? We brought that number down.
There's more parity now than there was before. There is a disproportionate level of unemployment among our younger returning veterans. The 18 to 24-year-olds have a slightly higher unemployment rate than non-veterans. The Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency has done tremendous work the past 3 years to bring our veterans' unemployment rate from the high 20s into the lower single digits. So, and that is part of a national trend.
Well, lower single digits is where we want to be.
Exactly.
So, well, Dave Dunckel, thanks so much for coming out. Thanks for informing our public, and hopefully our business owners are hearing this and are going to look at your website and see if there's some good, and I'm sure they'll find some very good recruits to bring in to the business. So this is Tony Forlini on the road, showing you how you can better your business and hire a veteran. Thank you.